We are coming at you live with session 67 of our Drowned Gods campaign, and we are going to get started. As always, everyone please reset your hero point pools to 1, and who would like to give the recap of our last game for an extra hero point?
If no one wants to, I will, but I think I gave it last week or 2 weeks ago, whenever we last got together.
Well, I'm not hearing any other volunteers, so go for it.
Okay. So, last week we all had some downtime to decide what we were going to do with. If Poi Pip works on the boat, more specifically, worked on how to make how to get power and store power, especially when the crystals aren't being like zapped by lightnings.
Yeah. Now he did. He woke up from passing out after talking to the Star Mother.
Coma.
Yeah,
that's right.
And he noticed something odd when he woke up.
He noticed he could not only see in the dark, it's almost like he had. Have any of you guys ever played any of the Arkham games?
Yeah.
You know when Batman goes in detective mode?
Yeah, it's not quite that clear, but it is similar. That's a good way to visualize it.
That's the way I visualize it, as like, you can kind of see vague outlines through walls, but like, you can see. Yeah, he's got especially if it's in the same room as him, he's got very good sensory, I can't talk, vision.
Yeah.
As does Burn Bright.
No, Burn Bright did not, at least as far as you were aware, Burn Bright does not have that same vision.
He was trying to suss it out, but Burn Bright was dealing with other issues.
Yeah, so that's a thing that Burn Bright might manifest. You guys are still under the working assumption that it's part of the Great Mother's blessing. At least I assume that's the case. But Burn Bright, as far as you are aware, has not started being able to see in the dark.
And if I'm not mistaken, I think Apoitip's kind of kept it to himself.
I think so. I don't think he mentioned it.
Yeah, I have not told anyone. Not even Burn Bright.
You're not like, yeah.
Terrible. And after what Burn Bright confided in you about...
I know. He's got to focus on his own stuff right now.
He doesn't want to burden him with his problems.
But yeah, so after that, Ip did go and join Burn Bright in working on the solar panels. And that's when Burn Bright had his confession.
Oh yeah, because Burn Bright kept rolling horribly.
Yeah, I rolled several 3s in a row.
He was very distracted. He was very, very distracted.
Yeah, he has a plus 13 in crafting. Getting a 16 is pretty bad.
And if I'm not mistaken, I believe Mako.
Did you want to, for the edification of anyone who's dropping it on this episode now, say what that Burn Bright's confession was?
Oh yes, Burn Bright's confession. Burn Bright's confession was that he all of a sudden noticed, well, not all of a sudden, while they were fighting the bullet, and he was whisking away Manouanui from the bullet. No,
you were chasing
after the bullet.
Yeah,
that's right. He noticed certain anatomical features.
Some assets.
Some assets, you could say. A pair of assets, you could say, of Manouanui, getting uncomfortably close to him, which made him feel very unique, a very unique feeling.
Yeah. He's feeling some things he doesn't fully understand. It's a little weird.
hasn't quite come. Yes, and ever since then, apparently it's been throwing off his concentration a lot, as is evident by his lack of progress in the sales.
Yeah, and that's why he's been like acting weird around Mono Inui since then.
Yeah. So he's been acting very, very sus, as the kids would say. Given Mono Inui some sidelong glances, which up until then, Mono Inui kind of assumed was some sort of like, I kind of know that you buried people in the courtyard kind of looks, but you know. Yeah, Mono Inui, to be fair, Mono Inui still doesn't know.
Yep.
So just throwing that out there. Also, the Poi Pit let Mono Inui borrow his conch.
Yep.
I think that's it for a Poi Pip, right?
Yeah, for the most part. There is an interaction between you and him later, but that's like toward when we wrapped up, so involving a certain finger.
That's right. I'll cover that when I cover Mono Inui.
Yeah.
Anywho, then Mako, if I'm not mistaken, had a heart-to-heart chat with her old, not her old, but her not master. What's what I'm looking for? Like the person who an apprentices for.
I mean, master is actually at least one of the terms.
Yeah, so you get what I'm saying. So her non-chattel slavery master, which is Sunbeam.
Yes.
Okay. Sunbeam, about, I believe it was her
sponsor is another term I'm saying.
Sponsor. Or
that's
patron?
A little bit less loaded.
Anywho, she had a conversation with her about her abilities, about her level of...
about leaving with you guys in the airship.
Yeah, that's right. Because and her abilities came up because she's like, yeah, I can't. You've kind of reached a point where you're kind of equal with me as far as your technical abilities are.
Even more so than that. Sunbeam
much more to teach you.
Yeah, Sunbeam gave Mako her blessing to go with you guys, and said that Mako had already surpassed Sunbeam's abilities in alchemy.
Yeah, there we go. And then I believe Mako also worked on the batteries.
Yes.
Yeah, thank God.
Otherwise, we wouldn't be going very far.
Oh, yeah. At least not during the nighttime. You'd be able to travel during the day, and that'd be it. You'd be back to sailing, old school in the actual ocean, where fish,
a bunch of heavy
where fish pee.
Yeah.
Ew.
And then Akalupu, I think, just worked on the boat. Isn't that right?
Yes, Akalupu primarily worked on the boat, though he did join you also on your adventures for a bit. That's
right. So Mono Inui and Junior and Igata went down into the depths of the earth to try and find the source of that odd necromantic power, which turned out to be a goblet, but not just. And well, I'll get to that. So first, Gata's like, "Hey, when you get here's a basket that can contain that, whatever it is. And when you get down there, don't dawdle. Like, just get it, get out. And so Mono Inui ties a rope to herself, gives one end to Junior, and says, hey, when you feel pulling, yank me out. Starts swimming down, completely pitch black down there. So eventually finds an object that's completely shrouded in darkness, puts it in
even
the
your
basket.
magical light could not pierce through the darkness it was emitting.
Yeah, it was like just swallowing up the light. Once it goes into the basket, the darkness around the water goes away, but in the basket, surrounding whatever the object is, it doesn't go away. So Mono Inui, remembering Agaka saying, don't dawdle, didn't dawdle, got out of there. Later on, trying to figure out what the heck this thing is, cuts her finger on it, which causes basically necrosis. But like not just necrosis. It's like a enchanted necrosis.
Well, you actually didn't cut yourself, because when you almost cut yourself, but you rolled well enough. It was later when you were trying to examine it after you'd gotten it out, that you actually accidentally dipped your finger into the liquid in the goblet.
But it was I thought it was before Topple was there.
Yes, it was before Topple was there, but you just stuck your finger into the basket and started feeling around, trying to figure out what it was. And you avoided cutting yourself. But when you damaged yourself, it was when you dipped your finger into the liquid in the goblet. Not that you knew it was the goblet at the time, or that you were about to dip your finger in.
So it's this like odd accursed necrosis that takes a level 4 healer. Level 4?
Level 4 restoration. 4. So basically, Ip needs to be able to upcast the restoration spell.
He needs to get stronger. But we did find out that it is a refractory.
Phylactery. There
we go. It's a phylactery, which is a tool that allows a lich to reform after it's physically destroyed. So that's interesting. I'm sure no liches are going to just like materialize out of the ether in the middle of the night in my room and kill us all.
Oh yeah, definitely not.
No need to worry. I get this information from my oh so helpful Topple, who actually visits me for a change instead of just, sucking me into like some alternate dimension.
Right? He didn't like a step. He didn't pull you in through a bowl of curry, or not curry, gumbo, or drop the stairs out from under you, or any of the other myriad ways he's pulled you in before.
So that was interesting. And then I went to, after finding out this information about the phylactery, that thing. Had a good long conversation with Epoipip, asked him if he could heal. Oh, I'm wearing some thick gloves, some really badass looking gloves. Asked him if he could heal my finger. He tries. Doesn't seem to work. I mean, I get tingles in it. It makes my finger tingle, which I don't know if that means like it's doing some sort of good work. Just not enough, but like maybe it's like preventing further spread. I'm not sure, but definitely doesn't like all the way heal it. So I asked Poipip if it'd be cool if like I scheduled a time, maybe like, I don't know if I said once a day or once a week, something like that, where he could come do his thing, make my finger tingle, and hopefully that does something until he gets strong enough to actually for real heal me. And then I think that was it.
Yep.
I don't think did I leave anybody out.
I think that more or less catches us up. All right, so you guys
All we were
are.
missing. No, I was just gonna say all we were missing is Carry On My Wayward Son while I give the recap.
Oh my god.
There you go.
Don't make a supernatural reference right now. I'm not strong enough.
All right. Yes, so you guys have just finished the ship. You've done a few initial tests, kind of floating it out over, by the shore in the bay. The same bay that you guys have been using so far, so we'll just keep you guys out here. Drop the ship in. Bam. There we go. And so far you've found that it is balanced. You're able to kind of float it, and it is finally time to actually take it out on a bit of a maiden voyage and test it out on the ocean for real for the first time. So as you are preparing and making sure that all of the ropes are in the right place and tied to the right thing and all of that, you realize that you haven't actually figured out who is doing what on the ship yet. So that is the first decision. So Burn Bright says, yeah, so I guess we need to decide what our roles are or whatever. I don't know. If you remember Dad talking about it, right? There was the captain and then the navigator and a quartermaster, I think he called it, and then the storyteller.
That sounds right to me.
So yeah, I guess we need to decide who's doing what.
Pick a captain, because you can't have a crew without a captain.
Right. I mean, I guess you technically can, but, it's way better if someone can, coordinate things. That way we're not, going in 12 different directions at once.
Well, back in the day, when I was working with most of your parents, I was the captain then. I'm fine serving that role now.
It makes sense for the captain to be someone with the most sailing experience. So I would follow you, Manu Anui.
Thank you. I also just remembered that none of you have sailed before, so that is an excellent point.
Yeah. There's gonna be a lot of learning going on, for sure. So he's gonna look at you, blush slightly, turn away, and just be like, well, I guess you have my vote too.
Junior.
I feel good about that.
Junior's just poking the sand with a stick, ignoring all of you.
Well, we all know who we vote for. If you don't mind me saying, can I wait, hold on. Quick question out of character. The quartermaster, that's what Sammy was last time, right?
Yeah, Sammy was the quartermaster. The quartermaster is in charge of supplies and repairs.
And during
combat,
they give buffs, right?
Correct.
Okay.
So in combat, let me get my boat stuff. Here we go. All right. So in combat, the turn order is first the quartermaster, which they are going to roll for repairs and buffs. Then the navigator, is going to roll. Whoever rolls highest between you and your opponent gets to move last, meaning that you get to choose your location. That's something we're going to have to decide. Last time when PPOP was doing it, it was survival. But we will have to figure out how exactly you are going to steer this boat. But yeah, so then the navigator goes, and whoever rolls highest gets to move last, meaning that you get to choose where you are in relation to your enemy's ending location. So it's actually to your advantage to move last. And then combat happens where their attacks happen. And then the captain actually gets to act in any phase. So they're not in the normal turn order. They get to either roll intimidate or diplomacy to give buffs to the crew. And then each person can only act in one position each turn, but at the start of the turn, you can move to a different position for free. So for example, let's say that Burn Bright was quartermaster in the first round of combat, and he rolled to give a buff to the speed of the ship. And then in the next round, you guys want to get some extra attacks off. Rather than rolling as quartermaster, he could actually leave that post, join the combat post, and then unless someone else became quartermaster, there would be no quartermaster roll. And then when it came to combat, he would, roll his attack. And it'll make more sense once we actually play it. But yes, that's how the quartermaster works, is repairs and buffs in combat.
That's a lot of information. Thank you for giving it.
Well,
yeah, and like I said, it'll make way more sense once we actually start doing it a couple times.
For sure.
Well, if you don't mind me saying, Apoytha, I think you would make a really good quartermaster.
I was gonna say I wanted to be the quartermaster. We're on the same page.
There we go.
Yeah, and you're like really responsible with like stuff, so no embezzlement or whatever.
Embezzling is a mortal sin. The Great Mother would not be happy with me if I was an embezzler.
Yeah. All right, so I'm on board with that one.
You want food? You gotta go through me.
All right, so that leaves the storyteller and the navigator. Navigator is going to do navigation checks. They're going to manage the ship's current the map and the current ship location, which, for context, let me throw you guys over to the map. I don't think Molly's seen it before. Map. Here we go. All right, so hopefully you can see the map now.
So cute.
So you guys are down here.
We gotta get over to that adorable little ghosty. Just joking.
Yeah. All right. So basically, due to various different things, just navigating poorly, because you don't have GPS, you don't get like, here's a dot, this is your location. You're trying to figure it out, and so you could be blown off course by a storm. You could just navigate poorly. You could get lost in a fog. You could get turned around at night. Like, there's any number of reasons why you could not be where you actually think you are. So the way that it works is you guys manage your location using this little pin here. Where you think you are on the map. I keep track separately of where you actually are, and then if you run into like a landmark or something that would show you where you are, or you roll really well on figuring that out or whatever, it could get updated, and I could tell you, you're actually 1 square higher than you thought you were. Stuff like that. So that's why it's important.
Yeah, that's interesting, and makes sense. Can I ask what kind of check you need to do, or checks, I guess, that you would need to do? Because I think that it'll, depending on how Anna and I are at those checks, it would make more sense maybe for one of us to be the navigator.
Yeah, so that's something.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, and that's what I said earlier, where we still need to decide what you're going to use as your navigation check this time. Last time it was a survival check, because that was the way that PPOP kind of like new things. It was similar to like survival would be used for like tracking or finding a path through the wilderness or some things like that. So that's why he went for survival. But the two options other than that are either it could be something different and we just need to talk about what we think makes the most sense, or you can take a specific skill for navigation. So you could take a piloting skill, and then that would actually give you like the rolls would basically be easier because it would be so special focused, but it would mean that you would have less skill points to put into other things.
Okay, I see. Well, I have +10 on survival, so that's not terrible for me for sure.
Yeah, that's a pretty good roll.
Yeah, I have
Junior has
plus
7
on survival, and
which isn't bad.
nothing else that really would make sense for piloting the ship.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, me either. Anna, do you have a preference, a thought about navigator versus storyteller?
I mean, I'm good either way. I was storyteller last time, so I'm familiar with that role.
My only thought was that Molly, aren't you? You're already like writing down what happens, right?
Yeah, that's true.
That was
Yeah.
my only thought.
Yeah, I was thinking that as well, but then I'm also I don't know. I mean, what does that mean? Keeps track of events, like.
So that's beforehand. Anna had been writing what we were calling Akalupu notes, which was just an in-character recounting of events rather than like player notes, which are out of character and has like information that you may not have been there for because you're writing down what happened to another character who was off somewhere else or stuff like that. Instead, it was like in character and intentionally inaccurate.
Interesting. Okay. Well, then that makes me think actually that I'd rather be the navigator so that then I can continue to like maintain the notes like I've been doing, which is out of character.
Yeah, I think that makes sense to me. Also, I have rejiggered your skills
Mako
just
is
slightly.
Our navigator. I don't think I trust Junior to steer the ship.
I wouldn't either. And Mako, if you check your skills, I just rejiggered them slightly and added sailing lore for you.
Okay. Let me maybe give it a refresh.
Should
Sailing lore.
be
Yes, I've got it. +13.
sweet. All right, so you have got your sailing check now.
Awesome. Thank you, Thomas.
All right. So that means Anna remains storyteller. Molly is now the navigator. All right, sweet. We got it figured out. Well, are we ready to make sure this isn't gonna go down in flames or I don't know, crackling arcs of electricity or whatever it would be?
I think we need to properly christen the boat.
True.
She needs a name. And then we gotta break the bottle over. You know how they do.
Yeah, break a coconut on it.
Call it
We could
Topple's
call it-
Revenge. No, I'm just joking. I don't know who Topple is.
I'm thinking Bullet Billy.
Yes.
We could just be super original and call it the Pink Lady. Because wasn't that the name of our other ship? Was the Green Lady?
Correct.
Yeah.
Isn't a pink lady like a drink or a cookie or something?
I don't know.
Pink Lady
Now
is
that
a
you
drink,
say
I think.
It sounds
Yeah, it is.
familiar.
It's a gin-based cocktail. Yum.
Nice.
Those names are both really good. I think I vote for Pink Lady though, especially because Abe is the captain.
The captain does get final say over their
I
ship.
mean, I am fine with either.
Yeah, and just to be clear, like they're not like the captain. It's like a leadership role for like coordinating.
Yeah,
It's all
Yeah,
of
no,
our
I was-
ships.
But
definitely. I
only
just
the
like-
captain has to go down with it. We're all off the hook.
That's
thank
true.
goodness.
That is something that Captain Lady did tell us about, was how like the captain goes down with the ship.
Only I'm contractually obliged.
Yeah. All right, so we're going with Pink Lady.
Yeah, I like it.
I like it
I
too.
like it.
All right.
I'm on board.
All
I
right.
hope so.
Now,
Behind.
Junior, smash that coconut on it.
Ba-da-dum-bum-bum.
Junior does a very, very large wind up. Almost throws it full force, but then realizes he isn't 100% sure which one's stronger, the coconut or the ship, and he doesn't want to blast a hole in the new ship. So he kind of like gently cracks it open.
Nice.
And it makes this noise. Dink.
Yes.
Exactly.
Just freaking blast the hole straight through the ship. Thing plummets down into the sea.
Yeah, you're like, oh no, the maiden voyage. We didn't even get to it, and it already sank. All right. Yeah, so you guys clamber aboard. It is currently not active, so the thing is sitting in the water. If you look at the image of it, the water line would be kind of like about 3/4 of the way up the pink crystal along the bottom. Everything else below that would be submerged, and you guys would be sitting up on that top area above the bones. As captain, Manawanui, would you like to bark some orders?
I would love to bark some orders. All right. Get her loaded up. All everybody on the ship. We're setting sail with the evening breeze. I assume
Right.
we're not on the boat yet, right?
Sure. Everyone is now on the boat.
Okay. All right. Get those. What do we call the sails? Do we just call them sails, or
Yes.
call them something special?
Just sails.
Okay. All right. Get the Junior. Hoist the main sails. Angle them directly into the sun. Mako, chart a course. Oh, cancel. Hey Google. Hey Google. Cancel. You know what I just said? It said, do you want to know if it's healthy to look directly into the sun? Like, no.
That's a question.
I don't want to know. Okay. Mako, chart us a course directly. What is it? Southwest? Is that where the island is?
I assume you're not leaving without supplies or literally anything else. My
I thought
assumption
we
was
were-
that you were just going to sail around the island to make sure that you
Oh.
didn't sink.
Well, I guess that's probably a wise thing to do.
Yeah, the most you've done
Okay.
is had it out in the bay and floated it for a bit to test out like battery
Well, we haven't-
capacity and all of that.
Flown it. Like flown it.
You have not flown it. All you've done is floated it straight up into the air to figure out like how long the batteries last, what kind of altitude you can get, make sure that all the systems are working correctly, that kind of stuff.
All right. Well, in that case, Lockout, I need you to go down into the bowels of the ship. Monitor the battery as it charges up.
But it would already be charged. I think Mako needs to steer the ship. That is her role.
As the navigator. Well, belay that order to the helm.
We prepare our rations before we left.
You guys aren't
We're not
leaving yet.
going far.
You're just going on a test flight.
What if we get stranded?
It's okay, bro. I packed like a lunch for everybody. We got a picnic lunch. We'll be okay.
All right. When we end up stranded on an island for multiple days.
Hey, Mom made us lemon scones, so we'll be all right. Nothing bad can happen when you're eating lemon scones.
That's a rule.
Mr.
Sounds accurate.
Mr. Portrait, you and Burn Bright, you guys constructed these sails. I want you to monitor how they're doing as we sail around the island.
Aye, aye, Captain.
All right. Engage.
All right. So there's a dial next to the steering wheel where you're able to control the power given to the pink crystals, Mako. So you kind of crank that up to, I assume you're going to the default power level of about 5 feet off of the ocean.
Yeah, that was exactly what I was thinking. We're just gonna go around the island, so we don't need to do anything crazy. I can, be staying far enough out that I'm like avoiding like these rocks, for example, that are right in the south. So I'm just gonna be floating 5 foot above the water.
Perfect.
So I think that sounds good.
All right, so the ship shudders a little bit as things are settling into place, as the forces are reversed and the crystals begin to hum just ever so slightly. And you find yourself lifting out from the ocean with a kind of splashing noise, and you are now floating about 5 feet above the water. The wheel is attached to another pink crystal rudder that points out backward at an angle to provide propulsion. The sails are usable as actual sails, but they're not intended as the main means of movement. So you can go ahead and dial up, another lever, we'll say, that you use to control the power to the rudder itself, and you begin to move forward in this extremely smooth motion. It feels a little weird if you've ever been on boats before. It feels weird to be on a boat, but it's moving as if it was sliding over ice in just like this perfectly smooth and against the wind even.
Awesome. Let me
I
know.
can't believe this is working so well.
Okay.
Yeah, bro.
I was gonna say, let me know if I need to do that check, my sailing lore check, but maybe not if we can we're just gonna go around the island where we can see the island.
Let's do it. Just see how easily you're getting the hang of how to control this ship.
Okay, I have plus 13 and I got 14.
You rolled a 1?
Yeah.
Ouch. All right. So you turn the wheel the wrong way at first. It's a little bit weird. You're not used to the idea of controlling a vehicle by spinning a dial. So you find yourself, you were trying to turn right, and you find yourself drifting left instead, but obviously you're able to correct that fairly easily before it becomes a problem. So yeah.
All right, everybody calm down back there. All right, I'm I've got it under control.
No, you were just
Well,
going. You were going around
Until we're out
that.
of the lemon scones.
Yeah, you were just trying to go around that rock that was in the ocean there. You totally didn't see it. It's under the water now.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, so yeah, you guys begin kind of heading leisurely around the island, not pushing the speed too much, I imagine, at this point, and just making sure that everything is together. You do find a few different things. Burnbright is noting down, different connections that are loose, or ropes that are misconfigured, or anything like that. He goes down and checks the batteries, and it seems like do you have it set up to drain one battery at a time or both batteries simultaneously?
I would say one battery at a time makes more sense.
All right, so he goes in there and checks the failover to the second battery to make sure that that's operating, and ends up having to make a few minor adjustments, but otherwise everything seems to be within tolerances. So as you are heading around the island, we're gonna go to this app. All right, so just because we need something that actually points correctly, and I have not figured out a good way to make like a nice top-down view of your boat that makes much sense, we're gonna keep using this raft for now. So you guys are sailing your way around the island, and you see floating in the water ahead of you a suspicious object.
I thought you were like, you see floating in the water ahead. I was gonna be like, but ahead of you, got it.
Yes, so you see floating in the water some ways ahead of you a suspicious object. So let's roll for not initiative, because that's not how it works. You are now in initiative. So we are going to be entering combat. So first off is the quartermaster. So we'll say Burnbright's up in the crow's nest, and he calls out, he's like, dead ahead, suspicious object in the water, all hands to battle stations, or whatever.
So quartermaster
yes.
is you, Jason.
So Jason, what would you like to do now? Your ship is on full health, so there's really no point in doing any repairs.
I guess my other option is buff.
Yes.
Let's roll for that.
All right. So for buffs, you need to roll. What is the quartermaster roll? I guess it depends on what you're trying to buff. So you can try to buff any weapons on the ship to increase their chance of hitting or their damage. You don't have any weapons mounted currently, so you can't do that. You can buff the speed of the ship, so essentially just tune up, the power output and try to increase your speed. You could, if you want to, change stations and just go to the battle stations, get your crossbow out, and be ready to shoot at the thing when it comes to the combat round.
I want to go for a speed boost.
All right, that is going to be a crafting check.
And right up. Oh, that's valid.
Oh, you know what you should do is throw your dice on the floor.
Yeah, I got a 20.
All
You
right.
should throw your dice on the floor more often.
But, I mean, just a regular 20. I didn't roll a nat 20.
Oh,
Oh,
Yeah. 20
Oh.
with modifiers.
Yes.
All right. So that is enough for a success with a raise. So you are going to increase the ship's speed by 2 squares.
Ooh,
Or
we're
2
zooming.
hexes, technically. So yeah. All right, next up is the navigator. So Molly, you can see this thing floating in the water up ahead of you. You can now roll sailing lore. Like I mentioned before, you actually, whoever rolls highest gets to go last, which means that they basically move and then you get to react to their move and optimally position before the combat round starts. So this is a
Okay,
case where you
cool.
actually want to go last, so that's why rolling higher makes you go last.
That makes sense. I'm staying it super in character and really getting into the role playing aspect of this by not being very good at sailing yet. So with my plus 13 to sailing lore, I got a 16. So that's the roll.
Oof. All right, so you got a 16. Let's see what they get. They did actually beat you.
Yeah, that makes sense. That tracks.
All right. Do
Okay,
you
so now
have
I've got
the
to choose.
Yeah, do you have the ship sheet pulled up?
I do.
All right. So if you look on 6B, you can see that your ship has a speed of below average, so 75% of average.
Wait, I said yes, but I don't think I know what the ship sheet is.
All right. So if you go to the journal in Roll20, under handouts, there is a note called Your Boats.
Okay.
If you pull that up, it has a link to a Google Sheets file.
I gotcha.
All right, sweet.
And we're on the pink lady, so that makes sense. Okay.
Correct.
Now I'm listening, I'm tracking.
All right.
Please continue.
Cool. So if you look under 6B, you can see that your ship has a below average speed. So you actually move at 75% of average. Average is 6. It's rounded down. So you can see in 6C that you have a speed of 4 hexes. That's been increased by 2 because of Ip's roll. So you have a speed of 6 hexes. The other thing that you need to keep in mind is that you have in row 23B turning radius. So different ships have different maneuver abilities. By having a turning of 2 hex, that means that in order to turn 45 degrees, so for example, you can see you're facing directly to the right now, to be able to turn to there, you would have to move 2 hexes first. Is that making sense so far?
Yeah.
So it's basically because you're slow to maneuver, you can't just spin around in circles on a dime. You have to move as you turn.
Sure, that makes sense.
All right. Another thing that's going to be way too much for right now, but something you can do is there's a tab called Ship Tricks. These are different tricks that different roles can make. Most of them are the navigator roll. But by rolling on higher difficulties, you can do fancy things like hard to starboard, DC 15 piloting check. On a successful on success, you can turn an extra 45 degrees. Failure, you can't turn at all. So basically, if you wanted to be able to make a sharper turn and instead of going 45 degrees, go 90 degrees, you could roll this, but it comes with the risk that if you fail it, you don't turn at all because you messed it up.
Right.
So don't worry too much about those, but that's something for stuff later you'll be able to take advantage of because there's some pretty fun stuff you can do in there.
Okay, good to know. So I don't know if we should go towards this object? Because, like you said, like we don't have any weapons on board yet.
Yeah.
'cause this
Now
was just
you
supposed to
are
be
armed. You have your own weapons, but you have not mounted any weapons.
right. But I mean, I, for example, have like potions that I can throw, but like I can't. I'm sure I can't reach this other boat.
Yeah, and you're in the
From here.
navigator role anyway, so you wouldn't be part of combat. That would be something that presumably, like Burn Bright is presumably in the combat role, and I would assume Junior is as well. But if you get within range, they can attack it. Like Burn Bright has his crossbow. Akalupu has, I think, javelins he can throw, and if you get close enough to board, that's always an option. Ramming them is also an option. But avoiding it is also a valid option.
Okay.
Would you
I'm
like to
gonna-
roll perception to try and figure out more about the mysterious object?
Oh, yes. Yes, I would. I will. Yeah, go ahead.
I was gonna say, sorry, I didn't realize my thing wasn't on for some reason. Is going up, since we're in an airship, is that an option?
Yes. Going up and reducing your stockpile of energy in order to fly higher, and you could just go over them, would also be an option.
But our max height is only like 20 feet, right?
Yeah, but it's not that
Oh.
high off the ground. You could easily, like, you could almost go over them even at your current height, and if you raised it any higher, you'd just go straight over it with no problem.
And a follow-up question, because you said that it's kind of like a repelling force. If we go over it, are we gonna like push them underwater or like mess up their boat?
You do not know.
Okay. So I do want to like, get out my spyglass or whatever and take a look. So I rolled a 15
All right,
because I'm
so
saving
you
my good rolls for later.
so you definitely do not have a spyglass, but you do your best to like peek around all the stuff between you and your view, and all you can tell is that it is definitely a suspicious looking object.
Okay.
It's floating in the water. It seems fairly low. It's kind of boat shaped, but it's also got like plants on it. But you've also heard, that could just be them trying to be stealthy. You've probably heard stories of how the parents of the current characters used to actually wreathe their ship in ghillie suit armor, like a boat ghillie suit, whatever you want to call it. But yeah, they camouflaged it with a net covered in like leaves and stuff.
Okay.
So that doesn't unfortunately tell you much. And Abe, even though you do not have a specific turn, keep in mind as captain, you can roll in whenever you want to do your thing. And if you don't chime in and it gets to the end of the round, then you will have just done nothing. So
It's a quick question. My thing is, what is my thing again?
So as the captain, you can act in any phase. You get to roll either intimidate or diplomacy, and obviously as captain you continue to be the one, theoretically coordinating things. But yeah, so you can act in any round, and you get to choose to either roll intimidate or diplomacy to give a +2 to any roll in that phase.
Right.
And you get you get more for every raise. So it's a DC 15. If you rolled 16, then you would get just the +2. If you rolled 20, you would actually be giving a +3. 25 would be a +4, etc.
All right, so I am going to. We haven't decided on a course of action of like where we're gonna go, correct?
Yeah, and I'd
no.
love your input.
All right. I say we go up to 10 feet and go float over their boat. And if it seems safe to board, we'll drop lines, and I'm sure Junior, maybe Burn Bright, or some, Junior and Burn Bright could board, or maybe just Junior while Burn Bright, provides Overwatch support. That's where I'm thinking.
Aye, Captain. That sounds like a good situation. So, is there a movement penalty for changing our, like, altitude?
No. I'll have to figure out how we're gonna handle energy in combat, because that's not something I'd actually thought about yet.
Okay.
And obviously, my original rules don't account for it since you were using a normal boat. So for
Right.
now, we'll just let you do it more or less for free up to around 20 feet, because it's not, a long extended period of time. But yeah, I'll need to think about how we want to handle that. Make some sort of a special resource that is specifically for combat.
Furthermore, can I call out to Burn Bright, like as we approach it, to like, I don't know if this makes sense, but to be doing like perception checks to see as we get closer if he can, like, because he's in the crow's nest. So to see if he could maybe see what's on the boat.
So you want to do your roll to give him a bonus to his perception check? Is that what you're saying? All right. Yes,
Correct.
that is a thing you can do when it is the combat round.
Okay. Sweet. All right.
Okay, so then I'm gonna go ahead and like crank it up to like 15 feet. Or did you say 20 specifically, Abe?
Let's do 15.
Okay.
I feel like that's far enough up that if it's a reasonably sized humanoid type person, they can't get us. They could shoot at us, but we have a giant boat in the way. But not far enough that we can't provide support to good old Junior when he drops in.
Yeah. So then I'm gonna crank the boat up to like 15 feet and head over in the direction towards going straight at this other vessel.
All right.
And is that something that I move on the
Yes.
map? Okay.
Yeah. So yeah, and remember you got the +2 from the from Ip's check as the quartermaster, so you can move 6 hexes. Which, if you want to make it easy, if you just click on it and then hit the arrow keys, it will move it 1 hex at a time. So that's what I would do: is click on it and then hit to the right 6 times.
I'm trying, and I feel like I'm clicking on it and nothing is happening.
Does it not have the right controls? It does not.
Okay.
There we go. Try again.
Aha! I just got like arrows coming up. Okay. So 1, 2, 3. Can I turn it at this point?
Yes. So you can turn 45 degrees because you have moved at least 2 hexes.
Okay. I guess it doesn't make sense necessarily to turn yet. Okay, so that's 3, 4, 5, 6.
All right.
So we're still on track.
Sweet. And now it is their turn. They are going to move in space. Turn like this. Go 1, 2, 3, 4. And that is their turn. All right, so
Awesome.
we are now in combat round. So this is going to be Junior and Burnbright. So, Mono Anui, you've already, you're going to shout something threatening or encouraging to Burnbright about checking out what's going on with the object.
A diplomacy of 10 and an intimidation of 3, so I'm going to say something encouraging.
What happened to your intimidation? It used to be pretty high.
I used to be a sorcerer, and I switched to a witch. And the sorcerer charisma is their like bread and butter.
That makes sense.
Whereas a witch, I believe, it's wisdom or intelligence. Intelligence.
Yeah, I think it's intelligence. I kept always thinking it was wisdom, but I think I kept being told no, it was intelligence.
But yeah, the hecka intimidation that I used to have, which was kind of awesome. Especially because back then Mono Nui was like a little wet noodle.
Yeah.
That when I switched to a witch class, that went away.
That makes sense.
So I'm definitely going to be encouraging. I'm
All
saying,
right. So
burn bright.
do you want to roll
Use-
first and then decide what you say, just in case you
Mhm.
bomb it and you need to say something completely terrible?
Doesn't work. Yeah.
I got a 23.
All right, that is enough for a +3.
All right. Burn bright. Use those crazy perceptive eyes to see if you can see any person or thing or any strange things going on in that boat. You've got great eyes.
Yes, mistress. I mean, Mono Nui.
Oh my god.
All right. Let's roll perception with a +3. Which is going to be a total of +11. And he rolls a 1. He was too distracted by
He got
you
flustered.
complimenting him.
Dang it.
He's like, I don't know. It's like it turned a little bit. I think it might be coming toward us, guys.
Oh, gee. Thank you. Can I use a hero point to switch to intimidation and try that?
Normally no, but because I think it might be funny, I will let you.
All right. Let's see. Nat 20, so 23.
Nice. All right, that's enough for another +3.
Thank you for that, you fool. If you do not use your eyes to tell me what you see in that boat, I will come up there and I will gouge them out.
I'm sorry, man. See what he rolls. 24. All right.
Here. Here keeps them in line.
Exactly. All right. I don't know. I'm getting a little bit of a better view now. I don't think I see anyone in it, honestly.
Is it just drifting?
I don't know. Maybe. All right. So, Junior, is there anything you want to do this round combat-wise? Do you have a javelin you want to chuck at it or something?
No, I was looking at it. Everything that I have is like 30-foot range, and it's like
Yeah. Now that is
100 feet
that is the
away.
range increment. So you will have it'll be harder to throw it that far, but it is possible. Because basically, it's a -2 for every increment past the first. So at 100 feet, that would mean that it would be 2 increments out. Actually, 3, right? It's 30, and then to 60 is 1, to 90 is 2. Yeah, 3 increments out. So it would be at a -6, but you could throw it that far. Now keep in mind, if you throw your javelin into the ocean, it's gone.
Right. I was gonna say.
Yeah, so
And then we'll all just be like staring at you if you just like toss your javelin into the water.
Yeah, all right, so we're all on the same page there. So nothing happens in combat, so we wrap around. Quartermaster, actually first, does anyone want to change stations? All right, so Quartermaster.
All right. I'm going to boost speed again.
Yeah, I loved that.
Noish. All right, crafting.
18.
Nice. All right, that is enough for 1 extra square. Unfortunately, no raise this time. So that will increase your movement up to 5. Navigator.
Right. Maintain course, Captain, I ask. to you, Abe,
Yeah.
to Manu Andui? Okay, cool.
Keep an interception course.
Alrighty. Then we're gonna go 1, 2, 3,
I would-
4. What?
I would turn like a little bit towards that way. It seems like they're kind of drifting. Where's
Oh wait,
my-
don't I have to do my roll to see who gets to move last?
Correct. Yes.
Okay, wait. So 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm pretty sure that's where we were at.
Yeah, that looks right.
Okay.
There we go.
Sorry about
Seems
this,
like
guys.
good
I'm gonna get this. I'm gonna figure this shit out.
No worries. That's why we're doing this initial test flight.
And I told y'all I was saving my good rolls. I got a 31.
Dang. All right. I don't think they're gonna be able to beat that.
Her naval, not naval. What's it called? What kind of lore?
Sailing lore.
Your sailing lore up until now has been purely academic.
Exactly.
Getting a little bit of a experience.
Exactly.
All right, and they got an 8, so you definitely win this time. So you get to go first. So they are gonna turn, or no, first they have to move. They're gonna move. Then they're gonna turn. They're gonna move again. Then they're gonna turn. 3, 4, 5. All right. That is their turn. Now it is your turn. Oh, wait, they can't move that far. There we go.
Okie doke.
They're afraid of us.
So then, if I go 1, 2, then I can turn.
Yeah, and now unfortunately you will have to drag with the mouse.
Oh, okay. I guess. Okay, so that was 5 because I went 2, turned, and then did 3 more.
Yeah.
That seem right?
Yep.
Okay, cool.
Now, if you want to be fancy, someone could use Master of the Riptide. Make a DC 15 religion check. On a success, you can invoke the gods to move an enemy boat 1 space in your desired direction. Move them
I bet
closer
Jason would
to
be
you.
good at a religion check, but he already went.
Yeah, I already went.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I would invoke the crap out of that.
Yeah, maybe next time.
Maybe next time, right? We're not in a dire situation yet here.
All right, so that is
Although, speeding us up 1 square and moving them 1 square is equivalent.
true. In a lot of cases. And in this case,
right.
definitely.
You're failing to account for the way that we disorient them, Jason.
True.
Just joking.
The gods are on our side.
Disorient all of the people that aren't on that other boat.
Yeah.
What's the downside to failing the Riptide thing, and also like, does it matter who does it?
On failure, you accidentally contacted the wrong god, and I get to move your ship in up to 1 space.
We contacted Topple.
Okay. Yeah, that's what I was asking. It was like, if there's like not that bad of a downside, then like, yeah, why not try
Yeah.
it?
Yeah.
But
Now, as Captain Abe, you could do a DC 25 religion check, and on success, you get to move the enemy ship 1 space, and the ship is struck by lightning, reducing their speed by 1 space for 1 round, +1 per raise. Also deals 2d8 damage to the ship's HP.
I do that. Does it have to be religion, or could it be like occultism?
Um,
Could it?
not boneyard lore.
You knew what was coming.
Yeah, not unless you make some more progress on figuring out your necromancy stuff. Then I could see an argument for it. I would let you roll occultism, and you're reaching out to some eldritch beings instead of specifically one of the gods. But I will say that the results of failure will be worse than normal if you do that.
Oh, it's only a +1 difference. What We're gonna do it because it just feels more in character.
Yeah.
All right. There goes nothing.
All right. You rolling for Master of Thunder.
Occultism. Yes. All right. So plus 11 is 27. 27.
All right. You succeed. No raises, but you can now move the enemy ship one space in a direction of your choosing.
One space.
Yes.
So like that's like from here to like here.
Correct.
Or like is that
That's
one
two
space?
spaces. So you can see the edges of the hexes.
Here.
Any adjoining hex. So if there is an edge that is touching another hex, you can move them into that hex.
I see. And that boat is
There we
only
go.
taking up one hex.
Yeah.
All right.
Cool.
So going to open my hands out. You know, maybe slight glowing from my eyes as they roll back into my head. And I'm gonna reach out there to something. Just a guy or gal, you know, who can reach it out
Well,
for help.
do you hold your skull book while you're doing it, just out in one hand, Captain Ahab style?
Yes, 100%.
All right. So you feel something, some sort of dark energy radiating from somewhere. You're not sure where. You feel the book warm in your hand, and strangely, the tip of that finger, the one that went black, also has this warm sensation on it. It's the first time you've actually felt anything in that finger, or specifically the tip of it that's gone black, since it has gone black. It's been completely numb, but you feel like a warm sensation in it. And black lightning suddenly fires out of the blue sky above and slams into the object, go ahead and roll me the 2d8 damage.
2d8?
Correct.
Sweet. I think I'm just going to do that in Hero Lab. /R.
/R.
Yeah. 2 space 2d8.
Yes. /R 2d8.
7.
Nice. All right. You do 7 damage to it. And this damage bypasses its armor. So it goes directly to hit
Stupid
points.
Gillies. Let's do it.
All right. And yeah, so there's a peal of thunder and black lightning shoots out of the sky, slamming into this thing, and you can see splinters of wood flying off. It does not seem to be sunk, though, so it is still going. All right, combat round.
Did you do Master of Riptide or Master of Thunder?
Master of Thunder.
Okay. Interesting. But then why could he move the boat?
Because it also includes that.
Oh, move enemy ship once. Okay, I can read. I'm good.
Yeah. So
Thank
the enemy, you get on a success, move the enemy ship one space. It's struck by lightning, and it has its speed reduced. So it's a pretty strong one, but it's a high DC, and on failure, bad things happen to you. So that's
Don't
the
worry about
trade-off.
it, guys.
Yeah, he could have very easily struck your boat with that lightning if he'd rolled a little lower.
Don't worry about it. It was all in. It was all according to plan. It was all in hand.
Exactly. All right. So combat round, Junior. If you
So,
go ahead.
I'm still not going to throw my javelin.
Do you want to throw a rock or something at it? I'm sure there's like a loose rock around somewhere that you have piled up for ballast.
Yeah, I'll throw an or a rock. And then like something like demoralize or intimidating glare, which says within 30 feet. That like has to be within 30 feet, right?
I believe so, but I'll check.
Because it says choose a creature within 30 feet of you.
It's not raging intimidation. Intimidating glare?
Yeah, which does demoralize. So once you click into demoralize, it gives you more of like the details.
Okay, cool. Yeah, the sudden shadow, blah, blah, blah. Choose a creature within 30 feet of you, who you're aware of. Yes, so you would need to be within 30 feet.
Okay. Yeah, I'll just throw a rock.
Not put it.
Actually, can I? Okay, so I've got. Oh, dang. My rope is only 50 feet. We're still 60 feet out? Yeah. Okay, yeah, then I'll just throw a rock.
All right. Go ahead and just roll the same as your javelin. I think it's a plus 11. It's going to be at a -1 because it is past the first range increment.
Yeah. 16.
All right. Does that include the -2 or is that total?
Yeah, that's with the negative.
All right. 16. That is enough to hit. Go ahead and roll. We'll say 1d8 plus strength. Your strength is a plus
Is
4.
it plus 4?
Yes.
Okay.
Oh wow, nice. You did more damage than the black lightning.
Yeah.
It was a big rock.
Yeah, so you pick up a rock like the size of a person's head and absolutely hurl it with your just incredible strength. And it goes soaring through the air and lands perfectly, slamming into the side of this thing. There's a crunch and more splinters of wood.
Yay!
All right, so that is the end of combat. So we're back to the quartermaster.
How's their ship looking?
I don't think you can see it from where you are, because you would be below decks messing around with the batteries and all that stuff, keeping to supply extra power.
Well, I think it's time for me to switch positions to the combat mode and ready my crossbow.
All right, so you quickly come running out from below deck and position yourself, I assume, toward the front of the ship.
Yes.
All right, cool. And you wanted to roll perception to see how the ship looks?
Yes, please.
All right, go for it.
Oh, that's a big roll. I got eagle eyes. What is my perception? 32.
All right, nice. So you look and it looks pretty close to sinking. It's barely keeping afloat at this point.
And he's
Any signs of life?
right.
Nope. In fact, you looking at it closer, it looks a whole lot like a log covered in vines that just fell into the ocean and is minding its own business.
Good practice. Target practice.
Do you call that out to anyone, or are you gonna keep it to yourself?
No. I think we operate as if this is a deadly threat.
All right. Perfect. So, navigator.
Thanks. All right. It's time for me to do my roll.
You can always do a trick.
It just doesn't seem like that's necessary at this time. We've rocked the shit out of this boat, or whatever it is. But my sailing lore is another 31. Woo.
Nice. All right. They physically can't roll that high. So
Okay.
you win.
Okay, so I will go ahead and move my 4
So they
clicks.
move first.
Oh, right. Okay, that makes sense.
So they are gonna move, turn, not that far. Stop. No, let me turn it. Thank you. Turn, move, turn, move, turn, and move. And that is their turn. Quote unquote, their turn.
Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4. We're right on top of them.
Nice.
Not exactly, because I guess we could actually be physically on top of them, so we are not that. But
Yeah.
As a quick question, can I use my diplomacy to encourage the navigator? See if I could, would that get her? Would that get us extra moves?
It wouldn't get you extra moves. You could use it to get a higher roll, and especially if the navigator is doing a trick, that could be a really good move. Or just in general, because positioning is pretty important in these boat fights. Because your weapons are going to have certain arcs that they're actually able to, attack in. So, for example, if they have a ballista that's mounted shooting forward, being able to position yourself behind them is a big deal, rather than them positioning themselves facing you.
That makes sense. All right. How far can you jump off the loop?
How far can you jump from?
Yeah, if
You could definitely jump from where you are to their boat, especially considering you're
15
like
feet up.
15 feet above them.
yeah.
right.
Now, that doesn't mean you could definitely successfully jump from where you are.
Hey, I saw this man jump out of the tower. Okay, I'm sure he can handle it. Mr. Junior, tie yourself off to the ship. Board board. I don't know what's a log, so I'm gonna say board their ship.
No. I'm going to use my grappling hook and hook the ship with my rope.
Wow, I didn't think you to be to blanch in the face of danger.
Yes, Junior. Teenage Rebellion.
All right, and it is
Wow.
combat round. So, Ip, Junior, Burbright, all of you can do it. There's no specific order, because the way that combat works is all combat actions are resolved before we figure anything out. So even if like your ship was reduced to 0 hit points and was sinking, that wouldn't happen until the end of the combat round. So it doesn't matter who does what in what order.
Because all the cannonballs gotta fly.
Exactly. That's why positioning is so important.
Well, I have a grappling hook that I'd like to throw at the ship.
All right, sweet. That's just another ranged attack roll to hit, so it's going to be that same plus 11. This time, no negative, because you are close enough.
16.
All right, that does, in fact, hit. It is a log floating in the ocean. Its AC is not very high.
How big is this log? Like, can I haul it up?
It
Or
is
should we
canoe-sized.
sink down to it?
It is canoe-sized. So
Okay,
it's
what is the
probably
weight
about
rating on our floating ship.
the weight rating. You would need to discard some ballast if you were going to take it very far. You have plenty of energy to be able to lift it as is, though.
All right. I'm gonna like pull on it just enough to like definitely show that it's a log floating in the ocean, so everyone can tell it's just a log floating in the ocean. And I'm gonna like retrieve my hook, but then probably just like drop it back in the ocean.
Well, upon closer inspection, does it look like a log that's just floating in the ocean?
It does, in fact, look like a log that is just fallen into the ocean and has been floating around.
So if I cast Detect Magic on this log, do I get any magic vibes coming from it?
Not even a little.
Probably ran away after that sick lightning bolt.
You told us we were going into combat, Thomas, you dirty dog.
I mean, you were
We were all
technically
like, so ready.
you were technically in combat with a log floating on the ocean.
Yeah, and we beat the crap out of that log.
And we wrecked it, yes.
You did indeed absolutely destroy this log. So Parabrice is like, oh.
Good job, guys.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, I don't think there's any extra food on this haul. So
Yeah, not unless you want to eat termites. Ugh. But hey, we got practice with like combat, so that was pretty good. I feel confident now.
Definitely. I feel like we could take down any size log that we come into contact with from here on out.
I mean, what is a boat but like an oversized log, right?
Confucius.
All right. Well, I think this definitely deserves scones. What do you say we take a break and eat our lunch?
Let's
Scones
do
for everybody.
Yeah.
Before we do that, let's quick question about the power level. Does it cost more power to stay at like 15 feet than it would to hover at 5 feet?
Yes. So if you go into the
Okay.
journal, under handouts, there should be one called Airship Rules, and that goes over it. So, so you have 2 batteries, each of which can hold 6 charges for a total of 12. On a clear day, your sails are able to gather 24 charges. Generally, we assume that you're using about half of them to, sail during the day. The other half can go to charging the batteries. So this technically would get you enough to float 5 feet off of the ground indefinitely, assuming that you stay in clear weather. If you have, storms or stuff blocking out the sun, gonna be a little different story. So you can float 5 feet off of the ground for an hour with 1 charge, and for each additional 5 feet off the ground, the charges per hour is doubled. So 10 feet is 2 charges per hour, 15 feet is 4 charges per hour, 20 feet is 8 charges per hour, etc.
Sweet. All right. Before we break out the scones just yet, let's lower to 5 feet altitude. Let's not use excess power.
Yeah, confirm.
All right. Yeah, so break out the lunch, enjoy a little snack as you kind of continue to slowly drift your way around the island, enjoying the sights and feeling, fairly confident in your ship's abilities. It doesn't take you too long to make a complete circuit of the island, and you arrive back at the bay where you set sail. And you drop the anchor, turn off the crystals, and Burnbright starts putting together the final repairs. So we're going to go into another little bit of Oh, I forgot what it's
Downtime?
called. Yes, downtime. Thank you. We're going to go into another bit of downtime so you guys can make your final preparations. Obviously, you're going to be collecting the last or the supplies that you need. And we are also now going to figure out the weapons and modifications on your ship. So, do you guys want to start with weapons, modifications, or supplies?
Modification.
Supplies.
That's my vote. So,
All right, we have one vote for modifications, one vote for supplies. All right, then I'm gonna
split the vote and say weapons.
Fine, then I will pick, and I will say that we're gonna do supplies because it's at the top of the sheet, and we'll work our way down.
wait,
All right,
I
so
thought you were gonna just pick weapons because that's one that was chose.
I could have. So if you look up in the storage section, so that is going to be row 2E is the first open slot. You have 8 slots for storage. One slot of storage is enough to hold supplies for the maximum crew capacity for 1 day. So you can see that your needed crew is 4. Your maximum crew is 8. Currently, you have 5 people on the boat because it's the 4 of you and then Burnbright. So, how many slots do you want to assign for food? So, one slot will give you a roughly 2 days worth of food.
Let me see real quick how much. Not how much. Let me see. I think I have create water as a spell, but let me make sure because that will affect the crap. I don't know. Coin spell book. No,
Yeah, and there
it
are
doesn't.
opportunities to fish while you're sailing and things like that. So, there are some opportunities to replenish your supplies as you go.
I think we need to stock up on food.
Yeah, I was thinking like at least 4 slots. Is that crazy?
I was gonna say 6.
Yeah, I was gonna say definitely not crazy. If anything, on the low side.
Yeah. What else are we gonna bring besides food?
So let's see. On your last ship, you had rope, you had oil, you had specifically meat, you had fetid chum and jerky.
We had the jerky mixed in with the fetid chum.
I think
Gross.
some of the fetid chum had dried out and become jerky. On the Green Lady, you actually had some pink lube. I believe you got that from like some sort of weird jelly creatures.
From a squid, didn't we?
I think so. I think it was squirting pink ink, and you kept it as pink lube.
Yeah, I think I was trying to use it as like writing influence, but then I realized I don't have paper. So like pink ink doesn't do me any good writing if I don't have, a quill or paper. Which now been remedied.
Yeah.
Do we still have that? Can we take that with us?
The pink lube?
Yes.
Sure.
What is it? What is it?
Lube for?
What is its
For
purpose?
writing. Don't worry. For writing.
As quartermaster, I feel like it's more important to have rope.
Well, what if the gears get too much friction? Did you think of that?
The
Before you
gears.
could-
What are you talking about?
The gears
Maybe something
in
to
the
put out an electrical fire. Like,
Don't be silly.
Yeah, what would you use to put out an electrical fire?
Old-timey version of like a fire extinguisher.
Yep, I don't know what that would
Kind
be
of
though.
magical foam. I don't know.
we have like a rubber mat.
You do not have rubber.
How about this? Just don't catch fire.
That would be
thank
my
you.
advice
About that.
also.
Really good choice.
Yeah.
You're welcome. This is why I'm the captain.
All right.
No,
And
we
as
have never tested the pink lube on fire.
We never did test the food on fire.
Right. And as quartermaster Jason, feel free to delete pink lube if you just want to toss it overboard. That is entirely your purvey.
The captain really likes their pink lube, so until we need room for something else, I think we can save a
Also,
slot
I
for it.
do have create water, so we don't need to take water with us.
Awesome.
Also, speaking of spells, Mako, I have a cantrip called No Direction, so I could tell you at any moment which direction is north.
Okay, that's cool.
That is definitely
That's
helpful.
helpful.
Like
Yeah.
if you're in like a thick fog or something.
Funny you should say that. I too have a cantrip no direction. So if you need to doubly know which way is north.
Well, we probably shouldn't both take No Direction.
I don't
One
know
of
if I
us
can
can
get
use that for a different cantrip.
Yeah, I mean, one of you, if one of you is taking no direction, the other one should take like one direction. But
Is it permissible for me to like I don't think I can just like switch out cantrips, correct?
no, you can only do that at level ups.
Yeah.
Oh, so I'll prepare something else then. Tomorrow.
Sweet. And you can just do that now, because like I said, we're in downtime, so this is going to be happening over the next like week or so. All right, sweet. So next up, weapons.
So I had thought I had an idea for like not a slingshot. Or maybe that is what I'm thinking of. You know, the thing that cartoon characters that are little kids use to like throw little rocks at things, and it's like a 3-pronged stick. What is that called?
If it's like a 2-pronged stick with like an elastic tied to either side, that would be a slingshot.
Yes. So in my mind, I was like, oh, I want like a big slingshot on the boat so that then I can sling my alchemical, you know, reagents at people, at boats, and maybe get some like actual distance on them. But if I'm always driving the boat, maybe that doesn't make sense.
Yeah, I mean, you can always stop and the boat will like continue going forward at its speed. So it is possible for you to take a round in combat, even as the navigator, or have someone else steer the boat while you go into combat. But that wouldn't be your primary role.
Yeah. So if we only have room for 2 weapons or whatever, then I don't know that it makes sense to do something that's just for me.
Yeah. You guys do still have the harpoon gun that has a rope that can attach to targets that are within 100 feet.
Do we also still have that cannon that they stole off of Pirate Lady's ship?
That is another thing I was about to mention. Now, you do have very limited ammo for it because you don't have the ability to make gunpowder.
Yet.
Yes, yet. But you do have the cannon, and it's going to be pretty strong. Just very limited ammo.
Well, it sounds like we should definitely do the harpoon, right?
You guys want me to add the harpoon?
Yes.
How many slots do we have for weapons?
2.
2.
Oh, yeah, let's do definitely harpoons.
Yeah, keep in mind your boat is not very big. Because you guys wanted to go for the mid-sized, pretty much the same size as your war raft. So you don't have a ton of weapon slots. All right, harpoon gun. So that deals 2d6 damage and attaches with a rope. Rope can only attach to targets that are within 100 feet.
I mean, that would have been helpful in our, you know, combat that we just did.
Exactly.
Yeah, I think that'll be huge.
Yeah, because they either have to detach the rope or they're basically tethered to you and they can't like get any further away. So if you're chasing someone down, it's very helpful for that.
And it puts a hole in their vessel, right? I mean,
It can. 2d6 is not a lot. So if you look at your ship, you can see the armor rating in row B21 is 5. That means that any damage done to the ship is reduced by 5 because of its basically how tough it is. It's not like a person.
right.
A lot of the damage is going to be superficial, and especially something like a harpoon gun is just going to make little dings. So it's not going to do a ton of damage to most ships because 5 is actually pretty low, and it's specifically because your ship is fairly fragile. The previous ship, which was the War Raft, had an armor rating of 10.
Okay. And so chances are the things that we come into contact with will also have a higher armor rating.
Yeah, well, some of them will, some of them won't. It'll just depend on the ship. If it's like some little like goblin, dinghy, then it probably has an armor rating of 5. If you come across like Captain Lady's actual like pirate ship, then that thing's gonna have an armor rating where you physically could not damage it with a harpoon gun.
Right.
All right, so we have one other weapon slot. Do you guys? Oh, another thing we do actually have to decide on the harpoon gun is which firing arc are you placing it in? I assume forward.
Yes, because I'll be chasing stuff, I guess, that we want to harpoon. That's what makes sense to me.
All right, so it is in the 4 firing arc. So obviously there is 4 aft, port, and starboard. So weapon number 2. What do you guys want to mount up on that?
I like the cannon.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
do we have even the other options besides the cannon?
You can make whatever you want. As long as it is a thing that you're capable of crafting, I will let you mount it and like craft it and mount it. But obviously if you're like, we mount a railgun, I'm like, well, you don't know how to make one, so no.
Yeah,
But otherwise, if you want a
one
ballista,
step away from discovering a railgun, in fairness.
that is true, but you would need to do something to, discover the railgun first.
I say let's. I don't know.
Yeah, you can make a ballista, you can make a trebuchet, you can make a catapult, you could do the slingshot idea. That would be able to fire rocks just as well as it would be able to fire your potions.
I really like the slingshot idea. I think that's a good one.
Yeah, I mean, Thomas also mentioned a trebuchet and a catapult, which is like these are all basically the same thing, like same idea.
Exactly.
Yeah, could we use like one of our storage containers or something like that in Mako? Like, so kind of like when I was using Monomanu's like potions of fire. Could Mako like make potions for like other people to use in combat?
Unfortunately not. The potion, well, she can make some potions that other people can use in combat. So the crafted potions, anyone can use. But her normal potions, the ones that are infused, so the ones that are part of her main combat, can only be used by her.
Okay.
Okay, but here's what I'm thinking though: is still something like a slingshot or a trebuchet is going to be more like versatile than the cannon, which basically can only shoot cannonballs and only with the gunpowder that we've got.
Yeah.
Because like if we've got cannonballs, we could also bring those and like also use them on our slingshot trebuchet thing.
All right, so we want to go with a catapult?
That's what I think.
Sounds good. Are you doing this one also in the 4 firing arc?
Yes. Is that where where am I on the boat?
You are in
'Cause
the
I'm like-
back of the boat.
Yeah.
Because you need to because you're controlling the rudder with the wheel, you're
Right.
physically located toward the rudder, which is in the back.
That makes sense to me. And then I just want to know more about, like, you said that I could, like, switch to combat and then switch back.
Yeah, so technically, so if there is no pilot of the ship during the navigation round, then the ship will move directly forward at its current speed. So, assuming there are no buffs or whatever your speed is 4. So you would just move 4 spaces forward. And the enemy would automatically win because you would have no navigation check. So they would automatically go first, and then you would just move forward without the ability to control the ship. But by doing that, you could be in the combat role. It is also possible, because anyone can change to any role at the beginning of a turn. You could have Mono Anui take over driving the ship for 1 round.
Interesting. But that's not affected by where the weapons are. Like, if I had to get to the trebuchet or catapult or whatever you want to call it.
Yeah, we're not worried enough. Like, everything is abstracted enough that it doesn't matter where on the boat that is. Like, I would say I wouldn't let you like climb the crow's nest probably, unless you or I guess I'd make you roll for it, but I'd let you do it. But anything that's not obviously time consuming is fine.
Okay, cool beans. So then I just don't see why we wouldn't put everything on the front.
The reasoning would be that, keep in mind, especially with your turn radius, you have to make sure that your ship is pointed that direction. And if you are fleeing and not pursuing, then you have no weapons that are able to attack behind you. Also, if they win the navigation check and they position themselves where they are not in front of you, because if they win, they get to go second and they can position themselves wherever they want to in relation to you, assuming they have the speed to do it. They could purposefully move outside of your firing arc in the front, because that's your only firing arc right now, and attack you without you being able to attack back.
Okay, I see. So then I guess it does make sense. I still think that we should keep the harpoon on the front, because it just seems like we're going to be chasing stuff if we're like, if we want to use the harpoon. So I think that does make sense, but then it makes sense, I think, to put the catapult somewhere else.
Could we put the catapult on like the side of the ship?
Yeah. So you have either of the 4 quadrants. You can do fore, aft, port, or starboard.
Let's do the port side, because that way we can still flee. If we go fast enough, we can turn, loose a volley, turn back, and keep going.
That makes sense to me.
Perfect. All right. And these ship weapons are primarily for actually like attacking the ship directly. It is possible to try and target like a person on their ship, but it's going to be pretty difficult. So in general, these weapons are intended for like actually attacking their ship directly, and then your normal weapons would be used if you get within range to attack them normally.
Sweet.
All right, I'm just gonna pencil in 48 damage. I'll have to check what a catapult would actually do. All right, sweet. So that's your weapons. Now you have 5 modification slots. One that I would suggest is on your previous ship, you had the Green Lady, which is a smaller canoe, as a deployable. So basically you could just like drop it off the side. In this case, it would be underneath. It would be that boat thingy underneath the pink crystal, but it would give you a little bit of flexibility with a second boat for doing other things.
Yeah, that way if we need to, you know, do a stealth mission like kidnap the captain of another ship,
Exactly.
we can.
Also, we could jump over an enemy ship and then drop it on them.
That's true.
It's
Just
like a
load
bomb.
up the green lady with a bunch of explosives and drop it.
Yeah, there's a lot of potential here.
That sounds good to me. So one of them, the green lady. What kind of modifications can we make again?
Modifications are fairly generic catch-all for whatever stuff you want to do that's different. So like one modification on your last one, you had that your storage was actually sealed, so that people didn't have to smell the fetid chum constantly, and you didn't have to worry about things going bad as quickly.
That's a good. I think we should do that again.
On the green lady, you had seats and rings to secure yourself in place during storms.
We're not going to be rocked by the waves as much, but the wind might be a big problem.
Yeah, storms are going to still be just as much of a concern of, you know, people going overboard and that sort of thing.
Should we have some sort of lightning rod?
Oh, we talked about what we like knew about lightning and how it what it hits last time, I think.
Yeah, and I think we had decided that you guys, like Mano Anui had observed that lightning seemed to like taller things, but not that lightning particularly liked more conductive things.
Yeah, so we just don't have that information.
Okay. We could bring a little kitty with us.
What are you gonna do with the kitty?
We're just looking at our cute cat. Jason's
He
like,
just came in to say hi, so I said, why not bring him with?
No.
No, I agree. You should absolutely have a ship cat to eat, you know, any rodents that trying to get into your stores. That seems like a good idea to me.
Sky mice.
Does anybody have the ability to make a spyglass?
No, you guys do not have, like, you don't even have the ability to make glass. So
There's no like crystals we can like, you know, put through a bamboo tube.
you're not
Can't
going to
pull it.
magically find a
Can't play.
crystal that just happens to be the perfect
play.
shape to be used as a spyglass. No.
But like, what if I'm like, you know, I've been around for a while, you know, I dig in the dirt every once in a while.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not
you're
gonna
just
go
gonna
out.
be digging in the dirt.
Don't worry about it.
You do not currently have the ability, knowledge, or resources to make a spyglass. If that is something you want to make, that is something you need to work toward, because that is something you absolutely can get to, but
Okay.
not something you currently are capable of.
Yeah, got it.
We can
Not
use my
something that
dark
we've,
vision
like,
scope.
Found any?
Yes, you guys do have the dark vision scopes.
wait.
They don't provide
Maybe not.
magnification. Or I think they might actually provide a bit. Yeah, there was a way to toggle like some range on it. But those are literally just like robot eyeballs that you ripped out and repurposed as electronic scopes.
Yeah, well, that's kind of was my next question. Was like that's not something that like we found technology of or anything.
Not really.
Like that'll be something we will have to like hopefully find later.
Yeah.
For mod, as a quick question, we can't build like another weapons platform as a modification, correct?
That's a great question. I will say yes, you can. But I'm not gonna let you like turn every single mod into a new weapons platform.
Just have like a battleship. I say we use one of the modifications because just in case we need the cannon, it might be nice to have a tail gun. So I feel like if we're running from something, it's gonna be something pretty big.
All right. I will allow it. So weapon 3, you want the cannon. And you wanted it in the aft position?
Yeah. Because I feel like we need some sort of weapon to ward off chasing ships.
All right, and that will, if you want to bring the gunpowder and cannonballs, you will need to use one of your storage slots for that.
Oh no, the pink lube.
I was gonna say the food. You gotta make sacrifices, guys. I guess we'll. Hey, we can fish.
I really would rather have 12 days of food than 10. That just does not seem like very much.
Don't worry about it, guys. Look, I'm sure it's edible.
All right, sweet.
You're sure the pink lube is edible? Well, I mean, then eat it. Then eat it right now, Manawanui.
Hey, listen, we can't just go about wasting precious resources like that when we don't need to.
I mean, we could leave it with Burn Bright on the island. We don't need to like throw it into the ocean.
Oh, did we want to do these sealable stores?
Yeah, I think we should do the sealable storage. I also think we should take some of the extra bullet plates that we have lying around and armor our hull.
That's a good point.
Okay. So extra armor. How do I want to handle that? Because it's not going to be part of your main armor. What if we say we treat it as ablative armor? So I'll give you an extra 10 armor, but it gets reduced when you take hits, down to eventually 5.
Makes sense.
Wait.
Cool. So you have a current effective armor of 15 instead of 5, but then as you get hit, that's going to be reduced until it eventually becomes 5 again. And then that mod slot will open up.
And then did we want to make rings that we could tie ourselves down to?
Yeah, I reckon.
That way we don't. Or we could create an extra storage slot, and we could bring the cliff.
What about something like a pulley system so that we can lower people without lowering the whole vehicle?
That might be a good idea. I feel like especially for an airship.
Although I guess we have people that can fly.
Yeah,
And we've got rope.
Yeah, I was going to say, you
throw
do
the
have a
rope
rope you
over.
could just lower off the side, so it's not a huge deal. It would make it a lot smoother and faster, though.
If we make rings to tie ourselves off to, we could also tie ropes to those rings.
Makeshift harness.
Yeah.
Okay, I like it. And then we can use that to like haul things potentially.
Yeah.
All right. Cool. So seats and rings to secure yourself in place. So that is all of your mod slots. Sweet. All right. Yeah, so I think that is, do you guys want to do anything else with your downtime before we wrap up?
Oh, I had an idea and I forgot what it was. Oh, can I spend some time? So you said when I reached out to the occult, or when I, was calling upon thunder and lightning,
Mm,
that I felt a warmth in my dead finger, correct?
correct.
Can I spend some time just like meditating?
Sure. Do you wanna check out that finger sometime during this downtime?
Oh, I am gonna check out that finger before I
All right.
before I
So how long after the sailing trip do you wait before you start looking at your finger?
probably like dinner time. So like everyone's kind of going making dinner for
Right.
some time. I
So
can
like
like
that evening.
be alone. Yeah.
All right. So you check on it and you can see you feel like something like in your glove, kind of like, like you got a stick in your glove or something. So that evening after dinner, you retire to your quarters and you pull the gloves off. You can see that it's no stick, it's your fingernail, and it has come off of your finger.
Oh, so that's making it worse. Interesting.
And then over the next couple of weeks, as you guys are finalizing your preparations, it continues to degrade. Where unless go ahead.
Do my trips to Doctor Apoypip does that do anything to?
So that was going to be my next question. So you've lost the nail.
Yeah.
You continue going back to Poipip after that point.
Yeah.
All right.
Yep. Daily.
What is your explanation?
Hey man,
This infection is just getting worse. Okay.
This weird infection. I need more of that. I need more of the juice.
I'll see what I can do.
All right.
What
Unfortunately,
did last time? I think just heal.
no.
But
Well,
it
you
doesn't
tried
matter.
heal. Yeah, you tried heal. That didn't work, and then you tried restoration. And you do not. Your restoration is not strong enough yet. You need to be able to upcast it.
There's no way I could boost that. Is
No.
there?
You could cast shocking grasp on your own finger and see what happens.
Something tells me that wouldn't be good.
Yeah, so you go back for treatments, the next day, and unfortunately, it's about the same effect. And over the next week or so, so the next couple of days, you see that it's degraded now to where there's actually a little bit of bone showing through.
Ugh,
And
gross.
for clarification, the restoration spells don't seem to be, or like healing don't seem to do anything, correct?
Correct. Like it seems that it like gets to the finger and then just stops. Like
that
whatever negative energies are in there are blocking the effects.
I'm
I
gonna
could try remove disease.
You already know it's not a disease. You could if you wanted to, but you examined it before and you know that it's not a disease. You know that it is undead energies.
Yeah, I just don't have anything for that right now.
All right. Well, I guess in the meantime, instead of going to Apoypip, after I realize not doing much, I am just going to be. Wait, huh? Wow. No, I'm going.
What did Anna say?
She said, "Chop it off."
It's an option. You can amputate.
I'm going to wear
only
my
option.
glove, but I'm also going to try and be doing research into chalice, into things like that. See if there's something I can do to fix it.
All right. How are you doing research?
Well, I am looking through my book.
Mm-hmm.
I think I'll talk to gosh dang it, I can't remember her name. What's her
Agata?
name? Agata about it. See if she knows anything.
All right. So as it goes on, by the end of the downtime, your finger will be just a bone. So the end of your
Okay.
finger from a bit below the
that's better.
last
I feel
knuckle.
like that's better than rotting flesh, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Controversial opinion.
So it's just above the first knuckle is where it starts. So there's actually a joint that is part of the area. All of that is just a bone, and you actually can bend it like normal.
Oh, neat.
So it operates like normal, except that it's a bone. I
So,
assume
I don't-
you stop going back to PPOB before that point, or it point
No,
pip.
100%. I think after that evening, and it doesn't seem to do anything. I think I'm gonna leave off and just wear my gloves.
All right. Yeah. Other than that, Agata doesn't have any useful information. I mean, are you actually going to show her that your finger is a bone now, or do you want to keep that a
No.
secret from her?
I'm gonna keep that to myself.
All right. Kind of figured.
It seems
All
to
right.
be the thing that kind of like spooks people, you know? Makes them
Yeah.
think like, what are you doing that your finger's now a bone that still moves on command?
Yep.
That seems to raise too many questions. You know what I mean? That's how people end up buried in the courtyard. That's all I'm saying.
Exactly. And then as far as your research into the book, you don't get anything that talks about how to cure it. What little information you're able to glean sounds like stuff that, if anything, would just make it worse. / more undead rather than less undead.
As a secondary quick question, I don't find does that include like my esoteric occultic meditation?
There's nothing that you know, so you wouldn't be able to do any sort of recall knowledge. You would have to get information from the outside. Pretty much the only person who might be able to help you is Topple.
That's I'm going to try and talk to Topple then.
All right, then we will save that for next time.
Sweet.
All righty.
And then does Junior want to be digging in the dirt for crystals? They're trying. Junior's busy digging in the dirt for crystals to talk.
I'm trying to unmute
Oh,
myself.
she's trying to unmute herself.
Okay. Dang it, I had something I wanted to do. It was
Digging
not
the dirt
digging
for
in the dirt
crystals.
for crystals, because that seems kind of pointless for Akalupu to do. No, actually, Akalupu wanted to try to figure out how to turn his javelin more into like a harpoon.
Okay, so you want to basically give it like hooks on the end? Like what
well,
about it do you want to
mostly
change to make it more like a harpoon?
I just want to be able to attach a rope without like tying a rope to it, if that makes sense. Like, I don't want to like throw off its throwing ability. I just want to have a rope so that I can throw it without it like
So that it's retractable.
falling in the ocean.
Right.
All right. Sure. Give me a crafting check.
Yeah, that's what I was worried you were gonna say. 17.
All right. You attach some loops to the back of your javelins so that you can attach a rope to them easily.
Yay! Okay, cool.
All right. Anyone else?
Okay.
I don't think so. I'm happy with the inclusion of the catapult on the ship. I'm excited about that.
Cool. Yeah, and you can craft items. So basically the difference is your potions that are imbued are free, and you just make them every day in the morning when you do your preparations. But if you want to actually get together the resources to be able to craft the alchemist fire or bottle lightning or any of those, you can craft those and then anyone can use them. So there is an option to craft items that you could just have anyone chuck into the catapult and fire at the enemy.
But I have bottled lightning.
Yeah.
And alchemist fire.
I think Did
Like
I give you some that are actual inventory items, or are they just your weapon ones? Let me check your inventory.
Oh, I see. Yeah, please help me.
No. So in your inventory, you have your alchemist toolkit, backpack, bedroll, healer's toolkit, oil, rations, and water skin. You don't have any that are normal. But what you're seeing is if you go to the combat tab, you'll see these flasks, alchemist fire, bottle lightning. Those are the ones that are imbued. So that's the ones that you get for free just as part of your daily preparations.
Okay.
Yeah, so there's two
So then
two different types of potions. Imbued potions are ones that you actually have imbued part of your own magical essence into, and they're free. They do not require materials. You get them every morning without expending any resources, but only you can use them. And they expire at the end of the day, and you have to make a new batch in the morning. The other kind is where you can actually use your crafting. You can roll crafting usually during downtime, but you can do it like during normal play as well. To craft the items from materials, and then those anyone can use because they're using the magic from different materials rather than being imbued with your own magical essence.
And will those, expire at the end of the day or no?
No, those are good until they're destroyed or lost.
Okay, well, I would like to craft some items that I can be like, Junior, take this, and, hit it with, fire or lightning or frost. So, do I need to have, do I need to decrease some kind of crafting agent or?
Not in this case. We'll assume that you were able to gather whatever you need to.
Because we're still on the island, so we've got access to all the stores.
Exactly. So what do you want to craft?
I think it would make sense if this isn't too, doesn't go, beyond what is reasonable. I'd like to craft one of each of my 4 that I have in my ranged projectiles. So that's acid flask, alchemist's fire, bottled lightning, and frost vial. I have 3 of those all the time that I can use, but if I had 1 of each of them that I could hand off, that would be, I think, my ideal situation.
Okay, cool. And are you gonna what do you want to craft them at? Lesser, moderate, major? I don't think you can craft major. So it would have to be lesser or moderate. All right, cool.
Yeah, I think I would do moderate if that's an option.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah, so that should be fine. You would have enough time to do that, I think. Go ahead and roll crafting.
$24.
Nice. All right, yeah. So between having easy access to materials and plenty of time to do it, you can easily craft that much. So to add them to your inventory, pull up your full sheet, go to the build tab, magical and alchemical items, and then you'll see there's 2 different sections. There's the infused alchemical items. Those are the ones I was talking about that are part of your daily routine and don't require resources. Above that is non-infused items. If you click the plus on that section, it'll show you the stuff that you can add, and you can go ahead and add them to your inventory. Just check that they are free instead of the standard price because you're crafting them.
Okay.
Did that make sense? Were you able to figure that all out, or do you need any help beyond that?
I am here, but I see that it says buy 10 GP.
Yeah, so that's what I was talking about by making them free. So if you look up in the top where it says price, kind of top left, you'll see there's some tabs on the right side. It's probably got standard selected. If you click free, which has the little picture of a gift, and then you can click add for free.
Great.
Because you guys do not have money. That is not something that your society has developed yet.
Acid flask moderate was not added. can't customize another item when one is already pending?
Oh, I think I may have. I was messing with some stuff. Let me see if I can get rid of this guy. Delete. There we go. Try again.
Okay, added acid flask, moderate. I'm gonna do also alchemist's fire. Add for free. Bottled lightning, moderate. Add for free. And then the last one was frost, vial, moderate. Add for free. Yes.
Nice. All right.
Okay.
And then if you wanted to do that, like if you're out exploring on islands, you would just need to basically say that you're spending some time foraging for the materials to put it together and then make the crafting roll instead of just, assuming that they're around in the village somewhere.
Awesome.
All right.
Okay, thank you, Thomas.
No worries. All right. That is everyone then. Let's go ahead and wrap up. Let's see. We'll start with Mako. What did Mako learn?
Don't get cocky, kid. About being able to fly your airship.
Yeah, you can always roll a 1.
Yeah. Oh gosh, that's true. So yeah, she got humbled a little bit today.
Right. After you realized you got outpiloted by a log that one turn.
Yeah. So yeah, that I've got a lot to learn.
Yeah. Don't we all? All right. What about Ip? What did Ip learn?
Ip learned that logs are surprisingly good practice for sailing.
Very true. And what about Manawa Nui? What has she learned?
Manawa Nui learned that bone fingers are superior to rotting fingers.
I mean, it's pretty much equivalent, honestly.
Yeah, but as far as like aesthetics go,
Yeah, you gonna start dipping some more digits into that cup?
maybe just having a completely skeletal hand. That's pretty badass. That'd be pretty intimidating. You know what I
Right?
mean?
Yeah, it takes
Like,
some work to get your whole. Well, actually, the chalice is big enough. Yeah, you could totally get your whole
I
hand
could
in
just,
there.
put my hand into a fist and just dip it in.
You could.
Next time somebody fails their roll, I just take off my glove.
Be like, if you don't want this to happen to you, I swear to, I don't know, whatever deity you worship, I swear to topple. I will come over there. All right. And last but not least, what did Junior learn?
Junior learned that sometimes it's important to say no to Mono Inui.
Yeah.
Very true.
I love that character development.
Wow.
Alrighty. Well, thanks everyone for joining me. I hope you all had a great time. I know I did, and I will see you